Hi, my name is Matthew. I'm an addict.
Hi, Matthew.
Young people may be encouraged by this man's experience to think that they can stop, as he did, on their own willpower. We doubt if many of them can do it, because none will really want to stop, and hardly one of them, because of the peculiar mental twist already acquired, will find he can win out. Several of our crowd, men of 30 or less, had been drinking only a few years, but they found themselves as helpless as those who had been drinking 20 years. To be gravely affected, one does not necessarily have to drink for a long time, nor take the quantities some of us have. This is particularly true of women. Potential female alcoholics often turn into the real thing and are gone beyond recall in a few years. Certain drinkers, who would be greatly insulted if called alcoholics, are astonished at their inability to stop. We, who are familiar with the symptoms, see large numbers of potential alcoholics among young people everywhere, but try to get them to see it.
Thanks, Matty. My name's Jonny, I'm an addict.
Hi, Jonny.
Thanks for inviting me to share, and thanks for reading, Matt. So I introduced myself as an addict. It's a very easy statement. It's easy to say that when you first come to the rooms that you're an addict or alcoholic. So I'm gonna try and help one understand what it means to be an addict. So I'm just gonna put into my own words what it says on page 24, the italics. So the way I see it is that at certain times, 9 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10, I'm alright. But there's that one time, at certain times, that I lose my willpower, my memory, and my reason. I get a hit of amnesia that shouldn't really happen to any normal person. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to have a look briefly at some of the stories in the book, and then relate my own experience of relapse when I came into the fellowship. So I'm going to start with Bill's story. Now, Bill relapses a few times. His first relapse after he's said he's through forever, so he doesn't want to do it again. He's done. Yeah, he came home drunk. It hadn't even come to mind. It says in the book. Yeah, so there was no thought of what he's been through, his sweet promises to his missus, the fact that he'd lost a business opportunity. That was a big thing. It hadn't even come to mind. Someone had pushed a drink my way and I had taken it. There was no premeditation. It just happened. His second relapse, he walked into a cafe to use the telephone. Yeah, there was no thought of drinking. He might have been a bit cocky, but there was no thought of drinking. And he relapses. In no time I was being on the bar asking myself how it happened. His third relapse, he thought that he understood himself so well after hydrotherapy and treatment that relapse was unthinkable. He thought that, it's not going to happen to me. But the frightful day came when he drank once more. Then he gets hospitalised. Yeah, his fourth relapse. Trembling, I stepped from the hospital, a broken man. Fear sobered me for a bit. Then came the insidious insanity of the first drink. And he relapsed. You'd think that... you'd think that after going to rehab, being hospitalised, you wouldn't pick up again. After rehab, you'd think that he wouldn't pick up, but he did. And then he did it again. That's scary, man. Scary. Then if you go a bit further on, there's another story, a certain American businessman, and he went to sanitariums, they call it in the book, like rehabs, floundered from one to another, and then he went and placed himself in the care of Dr. Young, a psychiatrist, for a period of time, and on the way home, he relapses. You know, shouldn't have happened, in my opinion. Then you've got a friend that we should call Jim. He came into contact with people from Alcoholics Anonymous back then. Relapses after he comes in contact with them. You know, he knew what would happen if he relapsed. You know, he knew that he'd lose his family. He knew that he'd get put in asylum. You know, he could see what would happen if he were to relapse. Yet he got drunk. He forgot. He didn't even come to mind. Yeah. Then you've got the jaywalker who decides to stop, then breaks his legs. Yeah. Then he shuts himself up as an asylum. So he gets a period away from jaywalking, but the day he comes out, he breaks his back. The day he comes out, relapse. Then you've got Fred. Fred's a great guy. Fred's got nothing to worry about. Fred's, you know, he says, done it physically, I felt fine, neither did I have any pressing problems or worries. Not a cloud on the horizon. And he relapses. You know, it's scary. Then if you go way further on, there's a corker. You know, and this guy, just going to read you a bit of the book actually, because I like this bit. So, hopelessness was written large on the man's face as he replied, "Oh, but that's no use. Nothing would fix me. I'm a goner. The last 3 times I got drunk on the way home from here, I'm afraid to go out the door. I can't understand it." You know, so he's in hospital, and when he leaves the hospital on the way home, 3 times he forgets that he's been in hospital. He forgets that he's been hospitalised, and he relapses. So my experience of relapse, I guess, of the mental states preceding a relapse, is that I don't know when it's going to happen. And it happens at times when I think that it shouldn't be possible for it to happen. So, a couple of examples. There was a time I was a period of a week clean. You know, I'd planned to do something good for my family. Really wanted to do something good for my family. You know, I'd come into the drug services which we're in at the moment, thinking that was gonna help. It might have done, it might not, don't know. They drug tested me, negative. You know, great, negative drug test. That's the first time that ever bloody happened to me. I could never do that. Self-knowledge. Self-knowledge. Or illusion that I was doing something about that myself. Anyway, so I'd done some things during the week for my family, saved up a bit of money. At the end of the week, relapsed. If you'd have asked me at any point during that week whether I was going to relapse, I'd have told you point blank, no. I'm doing this for my family, I don't ever want to use again. Simple, no. But I forgot that. You know, it didn't even come to mind what I was doing for my family. And I went on a bender. Just after that, my partner, my using got affect not just my life but my partner's life, and she was at a point, a really bad place, and she basically gave me an ultimatum and said to me that if I use, that she's gonna, kill herself with the kids. And the first thing I did when she gave me that call was pick up the phone and ring a dealer. I had no thought of, no regard to her. I don't really know what happened. That wasn't me though. That wasn't me. That wasn't something that I would do as a person. So I came into contact with a fellowship about a year and a few months ago. 7 months after the incident with my missus, which is, quite incredible actually. You'd think that when something like that would happen, that I would have, tried to get help. But no, I still thought I could do something about it myself. I still thought I could control my using and control my sprees. And don't get me wrong, there might have been periods where I was able to have 3 bags and then leave it alone for a bit. Yeah, but that was once a blue moon. Normally it would be a bender till I passed out and then off again. So when I came into contact with CA, I had quite an easy introduction to it really. A family friend is a member of this fellowship, and I went to stay with him for a week, and he didn't introduce me to the big book. He just had a week of sort of introducing me slowly to what it was I suffered with. Took me to my first meeting. Then he introduced me to the book after that meeting. I got back to Leeds. It still took a couple of weeks to get to a meeting in Leeds. I think I turned up to one, got out of the car, and then got back in the car and went away again. But I ended up at a meeting where 2 members pulled me to one side. As soon as they see me, they seen that I was a newcomer, they seen that I was a new man, they gripped me, they pulled me. They took my number, disturbed me a little bit there and then actually. So I asked one of them to sponsor me, got myself a sponsor, started on the steps, I made a beginning. The thing was, I had a problem with cocaine, nothing else. That's what I thought. So I got through a few of the steps, did my step 4, did my 5. And I thought, well, hold on a minute. I've got a problem with cocaine, not drink. So I'm all right to have a beer on a Friday night with the missus. I'm all right to do that. Yeah, can't hurt. And that quickly went south. It went from a beer on a Friday to half a bottle of vodka a day within the period of a couple of months. And I didn't tell my sponsor. I was lying through my teeth to him. I was on the phone to him doing some work, supping a beer or supping some vodka, Delusional. So eventually the inevitable happened, and I relapsed on cocaine, which I thought then was the proper relapse. I thought that was my first relapse, when really it was the first time I started drinking. And that was December the 16th last year. It was an interesting one, that, because I put the drink down. I realised that actually I've probably got a problem with that as well now. So I'll put the drink down, I'll start, work do. I'll go out with my work colleagues. I'll go to a pub where I used to use. That's probably the first mistake. I'd probably already, my mind had probably already conceded that I was going to end up using that night. I just didn't know it myself yet. So I went to this work do. Thought, right, I'm with my boss and my work colleagues. Yeah, I'm drinking J2O at the other side of the pub where I never used to go when I was using. I'm safe. I'm safe and protected. Relapse is unthinkable. Go to the toilet, someone offers me a line, no thought. Just take it. Nothing came to mind. The fact that I was work or trying to work a program. The fact that my family, you know, was at the state that they were when I was using, that didn't come to my mind. Things that should have come to my mind before taking the line weren't there. Yeah. Then I relapsed Christmas Eve on beer. And that's another interesting one, actually, because I went to the pub, absolutely smart. I got I got immobilised, paralytic, and I got offered cocaine, and I turned it down. How odd is that? You know, cocaine would have sobered me up, but I turned it down. No, because I could see where cocaine would lead me, but I couldn't see where alcohol was going to lead me. And then I relapsed again in January sometime. Didn't tell my sponsor. That was fun. And then I just didn't come back. Didn't phone my sponsor. Didn't come back to the meetings. Changed my number. Left the fellowship for a 3-month-long relapse. That's quite scary. How quickly you can deteriorate. Even when you're doing this stuff. And mate, I don't know why that happened. I don't really want to look at why that happened. You know, maybe it was because I was still trying to beat the game. Maybe I was still trying to devise a strategy to put into place so that one day I could drink like a gentleman. You know, maybe it was that. Maybe it was because I wasn't being honest. I don't know. When I eventually came back, I saw this stuff with all the desperation of drowning men. I really, really, really didn't want to go back out there again. I was on the point of ODing. It just wasn't nice. It wasn't fun. I guess one of the things that really hit me this time round is I'm not doing this for me. Yeah, I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for the person, for the new guy, or the guy who's been around a while, who's relapsed. I'm doing it for them so that I can help them. And as a byproduct of that, I gain some sort of sobriety. I spoke about Bill and the telephone at the start of my share. Well, later on in the book, it talks about Bill again, and he has an option to either go into an attractive bar, as it calls it, or he could go to a telephone directory and try find someone to help. And his thoughts turned to helping someone else. If it wasn't for him making that choice, or being led to that action that he took that day, means that we're able to sit here now. If it weren't for that, we God knows what would have happened to us. Last thing I'm gonna do is read from page 89. Leave it on something. Practical experience shows that nothing will so much ensure immunity from drinking as intensive work with other alcoholics. It works when other activities fail. This is our 12th suggestion. Carry this message to other alcoholics. You can help when no one else can. You can secure their confidence when others fail. Remember, they are very ill. I'll leave it there.
Thanks, Jonny.